So Java's story or growth story is actually a really interesting one. When we started in 2012, it was really local funds or my own money with a few angel investors, but we realized very quickly that we weren't going to be able to expand and to grow the business, to really make it where we wanted to get, to where we're only not just a Zambian business, but a regional business. And we knew we weren't going to be able to do this relying on our own funding. So we began to look around.
About 92% of our customers reported that working with them, we improved the livelihoods of them and their families and communities. So rent-to-own has always been very anchored in the impact. We kind of figured out our basic business model and we were getting ready to scale our business. Back then we had about 5 or 6 offices and we wanted to scale this to about 10 to 15 offices across Zambia to extend our reach. But to do so, we had to find investment.
Impact investors really make you open up to see the needs of the community. We as Zambian Home Loans impact people's lives, by building homes.
We started working together with Prospero, who actually helped us to work with a group called Open Capital Advisors. Because when you're an entrepreneur in Lusaka, based in Lusaka, it's quite hard to figure out how do I find the right investor and what is sort of the right investment type for me.
We went through a training process with ICA in terms of preparation, for presentation. They took us through a program, and that program, at the end of that program, we were able to pitch within 5 minutes and convince an investor that this is the right investment. So that process, I think, took about 3 to 4 weeks or so before we actually were in a room with investors.
And it's not all about incremental, let me take the first 100,000 and then I'll take the 200. Sometimes you need to go for the million. And we learned that was actually the best advice we got, because we took too much time sort of peddling at a very low stage when no one was willing to fish with us. And we needed to actually have a really big dream and say we want to finance a very big factory. We want to produce over 100,000 packets a day. We want to hire over 50 people. We want to be a regional brand, and it's going to cost us X million dollars, right? And that made people much more interested in it. But I wouldn't have been able to think like that if I didn't have the right advisors.
We secured like 1 million euros equivalent in local currency, which means that we pay back the kwacha we received on the day they transfer the euros to us.
Our money was really for expansion. We have a 100,000 piece line, a noodle line. We have our cereal line, which we now make. We have over 50 people around us. We have a huge distribution team. We have now a state-of-the-art laboratory and a QC department, which we can boast of. We feed all our employees on our premises, because we too think not only about affordable nutrition for you, but even for our staff. So we also make sure that they have one really good meal a day when they're here.
We did our pitch. We had a number of investors present, and I think from the engagements that we had there, that's where we engaged Shelter Afrique. We managed to get funding from them. They gave us $800,000, and those that have been impacted with that is, we can look at the employment that has been created. Most of those projects are construction projects, and they are still ongoing. And at every construction project, the minimum number of workers or people working there is 6. So if you look at 30, 20 homes being constructed, that's almost 120 employees, So I think the impact is there in terms of our book. Our book has also grown. Our dollar book is currently sitting at about $1.5 million.
We feel very fortunate that we found the partner that we did, because right now they're an amazing partner that are really working with us to get through this. And the financial return they are willing to work with us through this crisis.
And in the end, we raised, from a starting point of $750,000, we raised 4 million. And it's a split between debt and equity. And we did it our impact investors. So we have 2 investors. It was the best thing we did, and I'm so grateful we were able to do it when we did. And I think it also helps that, sometimes you're like, is it the right thing to do at this time? Sometimes you just have to take a leap of faith because everything changes so quickly. So sometimes, even when you're uncertain, I think rush and see how it ends up. So for me, I think it was a great, things are going the way they need to go.